Good morning, I'm Corey, and this is day 3 of my 100-day project of 6 by 6 and 6. We're using regular 6 by 6 paper from Paper Pads to do a variety of different projects. Yesterday's project was coin envelopes, and today I'm doing the reverse, or what I call a reverse coin envelope. They're very similar, but they are very different, and they have a different function. So, again, 6 by 6 paper pads. This one's a little bit larger because the Tim Holtz was the 8 by 8. But just kind of another twist, another way to use up the paper pads. And the reason I call them reverse is this. This is the coin envelopes from yesterday. You can see they've got a flap. They curve at the back, but there's a seam right down the front. That's kind of how we fold them and how we create them. Well, the reverse coin envelope doesn't have the seam down the front. They have the seam down the back, and I left this one open to show you what I mean. For example, if you've got, some words or something that you don't want to have a seam down the front, this allows you to put the seam in the back, and you can still see it back here, but it's just not as glaring or obvious. Just again, and this one doesn't have, you don't have the closing flap that you do on the coin envelopes, which is the focus, because you want this back piece to stick. You want this back piece to stick up and show. So similar but different. And I'll show you in just a moment how we make those. This is the 8 by 8 size with the Tim Holtz paper, and I just turned it into a base for a scrapbook page layout. These aren't just found relatives. These are my husband's actual relatives in 1946. A sweet lady, Teresa Fosdick, has a YouTube channel, and she showed a video of how she stamped and then fussy cut the top of this tag. And well, I thought it was really cool and really clever, so I just emulated it, but using a die cut so that it would coordinate with this. So there's just one way of using it. Here is just pattern paper. I cut this down to 6 by 6, and it's double-sided. You do not have to use double-sided pattern paper, and I'll go into that in just a moment. Just a little treat bag or a top of a gift tag for a Christmas gift, a holiday gift. This one was using the 6 by 8 Disney paper, and I used that on purpose to show you the different size. You can get a much taller envelope. So for journaling about my visit, or maybe a picture I wouldn't want to share, I could put it at the bottom. And I tucked this in here because when I do the actual scrapbook page, I wanted to remember to use these coordinating dots. I don't want to put them on there now because I don't know where it's going to lay on the page. But I just tucked them inside to remind myself to use those later. So there's a tip. And again, the idea with this is 6 by 6 paper pads, but you can do it with anything. You can make these coin envelopes with anything. These are just some book page that I put together. Super quick. I might actually be able to get my project done in 6 minutes. We will see. So I'll move those off to the side. What you need for this project is right here. So you can use a score pad, or if you watched yesterday's video, if you don't have a score pad, you can use your same chipboard score pad. So you need your scoring tool. You need a piece of 6 by 6 paper, and I gotta remember to tell you something about that. You'll need a bone folder and a ruler and a pencil. You need your wet glue. Oops, sorry, big old hand. Wet glue, ink if you're going to ink, and some kind of a circle template. I use this because it's easy, but you can use you could use the bottom of your glue. You just want it to roughly fit the opening of the coin envelope. So you want it to be about from here to here. And so anything that you have, a mason jar, a glass, a mug, coffee mug, anything will work. But I use this because I have it and it fits. So I use the Creative Memories circle cutter tool. And then a pair of scissors. I don't remember if I said that or not. So those are the things you need, and let's get started. I'll move this off to the side. Okay, this is one of those, sometimes 6 by 6 paper has a direction. Like this particular one, you can see the words. The words on here you have to be oriented in a certain way. This one, the front of this particular paper, has words in a certain order. So this is a great project for when you're directionally challenged or limited. And here are my measurements for my reverse. coin envelopes. There's the 8x8 down at the bottom, and then there's the 6x6 at the top. And let's see, the 8x8 is you score at 2 1/8 and 5 7/8, and then you turn. And I'll show you that when what I mean is if you turn to the left, you score at 7 1/2. But if you're a right turner, you score at 1/2. For 6x6, you score with the same as with the regular coin envelope. You score at 1 5/8 and 4 3/8. And then you turn and score. If you're a left turner, you turn to 5. You score at 5 1/4. If you're a right turner, you score at 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch. So there's the score, the measurements, and I'll leave those down. Okay, to remind myself. So let's see, is that... Yeah, that's pretty close. So I'm going to score at 1 5/8. Oh, this is what I meant to show you. So I am wanting to fold it back this way. So I'm going to have my pattern size up so that I can fold back. And my print is going in the direction that I want it to. So I'm going to score at 1 5/8 and 4 3/8. Now this is what I mean by a left turner or a right turner. Some people pick it up and turn to the right. Some people, like me, pick it up and naturally turn to the left. And you'll see when you do this a couple times which kind of a turner you are. I'm a left turner, so I'm going to score this at 5 1/2. If you're a right turner, you score it at 1/2. And again, I'm doing that because I want the print to go in the right direction. This is going to be my bottom fold for the bottom of my envelope. And I want the print, when I'm done, to be up. Okay, and that's all I need for my scoring tool. And this is kind of tough to see sometimes. This is one of the reasons I give it a good fold before I cut, because sometimes the score lines, depending on the paper, are tougher to see. And if you've got those deeper creases in there, it just makes it a little bit easier. You don't have to use a bone folder, but I recommend it. And I'm just going to make 2 little cuts now. And I'm going to do the same thing I did yesterday and cut off the bottom rectangle on both sides. I'm going to leave the center piece alone because that's going to be my closing flap. So just to the top or above or the left of that score line so that I get a nice clean fold. And then I'm just going to angle it in just a little bit to make it easier when I fold it. So same thing on the other side, cutting off that rectangle. And that's it. So here is where your project looks a little different than it did yesterday. And I've got this one, and I'll show you what I mean. So when you open this up, yesterday's, your seam is down the front, right? So this would be our seam. When folded in, and our seam would be here. Well, we want our seam to be in the back this time. So when you open this up, it's a reverse or an opposite cut. You're going to go down in the front and up in the back. And the way you do that is this. So I've got my piece folded and cut, and I can trim this little overhang off at the end. I've got it, cut the bottom out, I've got it folded. Now I flip it around. I want the image facing me, so I want it opposite or wrong. And then I come in with a ruler and I measure a 1/2 inch from the top line in to the fold. That's where I'm going to want to start and end my curved or circular cut. You can do a straight cut, but it just gives a different effect. So the way I do that is I put my ruler, you can see here, I folded the paper and I put my ruler down. And I make a mark at 1/2 inch. Some paper it's real hard to see, and that's going to get cut off, so it doesn't matter if it shows. Whoops, sorry about that. Doesn't matter if it shows right now. So I make a mark at 1/2 inch, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'll jut my ruler up to the edge of my paper, fold it, and I'll make my 1/2 inch mark. So, oh, that's a really big mark, but that's okay. It's erasable. So you can see where those 1/2 inch marks are. That's when I turn it down and around so that the print is going the opposite way. Now, you can certainly use those little marks on your paper to draw a line. You can take your pencil and you can draw a line, and then you can come in and cut. Well, this kind of does it for me, so I don't have to. And so I'm going to use the trimmer the way it was intended, and I am just going to come in and make my cut with the trimmer. or with a circle trimmer. Oh, and I didn't cut it all the way through. That's okay, it's a fixable thing. And then I'm going to come up and just next to that dot and cut. And there I've got my half circle. Normally I cut all the way through, but I think because I'm angled for the camera, it didn't go all the way through. But that's an easy thing. I can come back up and just follow that line, because it's already kind of showing me where it is. And cut the rest of it out. So kind of cutting like I would if I'd actually drawn it with a pencil. And there you go, you've got your reverse cut. So that's your drop down in the front. That's your front little drop down there. All right, then the next step is the back. Oh man, I blew it. I goofed up here. I've got this little flap. It's okay, it's gonna be fixed in the end. So now I'm gonna do the opposite. I am going to, let's see, right there. I'm gonna place this folded. I fold the flaps in, and I'll show you a tip on that in just a minute. I'm going to fold the flaps in, and then I'm going to put my circle template right up, back up to the top, and I'm going to bring it just to the tip of where I've got my cut. And I drop it down a little bit with this because of the dimension of the blade. But if I were drawing this as a circle to cut, I would just butt it right up against it and cut it. Or trace it, excuse me. But here I'm just going to cut it. So I guess my blade's getting duller. I'm not pushing as hard because it's not cutting through. There we go. And real life right here. When I made these prototypes, cut every time, but I didn't have a camera off to the side. So, all right, so there you go, curved. Now I've got this little faux pas right here. That's an easy fix. Just take your scissors and trim it right down. And that is all there is to it. I fold up the bottom. Oh man, I've got this ugly little spot right here. Just trim that guy up. And the same thing on this side if you've got any unhappy edges. If I were going to ink it, this is where I would ink it. I would, especially this piece. You can ink the rest at the end if you like, but this one, you can certainly do it. Oh, this is another little tip. I almost forgot to tell you. So when I have it opened up, you can see I've got a bit of a rough edge right there and a bit of a rough edge right there. I can leave it because it's not going to show, or I can just come in right now and trim it down. And again, right there. Hopefully that showed. And I'm inking anyway, so it takes seconds to do that at that point. All right, now it's the easy part. I just fold it over and I glue it. One thing that I caution you to do, and I'll show you a different sample here. When you folded it closed, look at your seam in the back. Most of the time you're going to have a tag or something tucked there so it won't show, but when the tag is out, you still want it to look nice. Try folding it both ways and see which way you like better. Is that more appealing to you, or does this seem to flow a little better? And then when you glue it, make sure you fold it so that it closes that way. And here's the sample that I didn't glue on purpose to show you. So this little one, I just cut out some tags. I've got a little bit of a white edge on this, and so when I fold it, you can see that little bit of a white edge. Let's see if I can get close enough. You can see that white edge, and it's fine. I just didn't like it nearly as well as this, where it seems almost seamless. You can't even tell that there is an edge in the back. So just be aware of that before you glue it closed, which edge you want to show. And then you use your glue. And again, check which edge you wanted to show. I wanted this edge to show, so I'm going to lay it down on my work surface. Just put a thin line of glue up the back close to the seam and hold it. I would put a block on there to hold it while I'm gluing the other side, and then glue on the bottom, and that's it. You're done. Project complete. Ink the rest of it if you like or not, and you're ready to go. You can embellish the front, tuck it aside for later on when you know what you're going to use the project for. It's fun and easy to, like say you want to diminish a 6x6 paper pad. Just make a bunch of these in an evening and stick it in your ephemera box, and you're good to go. A couple little things I wanted to show you. They're like bonus, so I'm going to trust that I got that done in about my 6 minutes. Little bonus things. Jibbid Neri is the most amazing YouTuber and person, and she's just amazing. She's got the most incredible ideas. And she took some vellum over book print, and then she made it into a little shaker. And it was really cool and really effective. And I thought, well, gosh, why can't I do that with these little coin envelopes? So you just cut the vellum to the exact same size that you cut your coin envelope. And you sew 3 sides, and then you tuck your shakies, your sparkly things in, and then you sew it up. Well, okay. 1, you can put too much stuff in. Learn from my mistakes. There's way too many in here. And 2, the vellum turns these iridescent things kind of sparkly and ethereal, and I really feel like I should have had a fairy in there or some woodland creature as opposed to just snowflakes. Wasn't the look that I wanted. Another thing I found with vellum, I needed a little bit more of a gap here. And you can certainly do that if you like, if you want it to be longer reverse coin envelope. You can see here the oval almost extends. It's like a flower petal or something. Whereas here, I've got that little bit of a gap between the way it curves. And that's just an option if you want a longer back piece, you can certainly do that. But I found with the vellum, it kind of gets buckly, so you're going to want a little bit longer back piece with the vellum. I got wiser the next time and did this, but you know what? It don't shake so good. These are just super thin sequins, but they don't. But it's pretty, and I could put the title here. And so that's just an option for you. I tried one as a shaker card, and oh my goodness, this made me a crazy person. I'm not a huge shaker person. I think they're cute. I love that other people do them, but I mostly have my sequiny type things at school for my students to use. So yeah, you can do it. Along those lines, I found this tape. Now, this tape is fabulous. It's $1.50 at the Daiso store, and it works really well. It's easy to use, but if you see on here, it's just a little bit thinner than the 3M one that so many of us use, which is awesome when I'm doing card making, or I want dimension with my embellishment, but I don't want too much dimension. But it's not so great for shaker cards because the shaker cards need that little bit of a thick to shake, because you notice my shaker, it got no shake. So learn from me and my mistakes. Let's see, what else was I going to show you? Oh, I know what I was going to show you. So I was playing around, and I get to have a granddaughter this year. My daughter and son-in-law are giving me baby Breck, and she's coming in July. And I thought, well, gosh, I need to make her a gift. I've got this really cute Doodlebug 6x6 paper pad. I want to say it's 4 or 5 years old, something along those lines. And I thought, well, this would make a great advent calendar just for her. So I did a kind of an assembly line using the 6x6 paper pad. And there are more, but this is just to start. I made these in maybe 10 minutes. I scored all my paper first, and then I cut the paper, and then I did the curve, and then I did fold, and then I did the back curve, and it was just super quick. And these 5 maybe took me 10 minutes. And so I thought, you know, I put her name on here. And when I lay this out or up in the house, I'll just put a couple little holes at top for the string of the garland and make a garland of this, and how easy it would be to do 25. And this paper has, kindly enough, it has the little 25 days. So I can cut these out and put one for each day on there somewhere. Anyway, super fun, super quick little project that you can do outside of junk journaling or scrapbooking or planners. You can take this and carry it on. I hope you found that helpful, and I hope it inspired you in some way, and have a blessed day. Thank you for watching.